two new ordinances by the government of India are a matter of serious concern. The Enforcement Directorate and Director of CBI, they generally, according to rules, have got a 2-year term. Now, the ordinance says it can be extended to 5 years. And each year, the extension will be given. This is nothing but blatant misuse of these two constitutional bodies to use them as political weapons against the political opponents in the country. We have seen even earlier, the Supreme Court has commented that CBI is in the cage of the government. Now, almost all the other constitutional bodies are in the cage of the government. The government is so much afraid that if independent directors come, they will not be bowing, they will not be accepting the conditions of the government. Recently, there were two statements openly to the press by two BJP MPs from Maharashtra. One joined from Nationalist Congress to BJP party. They both said now they are happy, without worry, from Enforcement Directorate or Income Tax as they joined the BJP. What does it mean? There are several other such incidents earlier. On two MPs belonging to Telugu Desam Party, Income Tax and Enforcement Directorate raided and cases were booked. They were maligned. Once they joined the Bharatiya Janata Party, no progress in the case against them. This is not an exception. This happened in West Bengal. This happened even in other places. In Pondicherry, several Congress MLAs were threatened that Enforcement Directorate and IT will raid on them and made them to defect towards the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, 15 days before the Parliament session, two ordinances being issued is anti-democratic. It is undermining the authority of the Parliament. This is a shameful thing. One after one, many dictatorial acts are being unleashed by the government of India under Narendra Modi and BJP government. This reminds the methods that were used by Hitler in Germany. The people are very much seriously concerned about it. Constitutional authorities should be autonomous, of course accountable to the government of India. But they should not only be impartial, they should look impartial. That is not, unfortunately, the situation in the country. Pegasus is a very serious issue. Government is not ready to say whether Pegasus was used by the government of India or not. They are evading the reply. They say nothing unconstitutional happened. This has been used against the politicians, journalists, and other prominent people in the country. This is revealed not by some opposition party leader in the country, but by some international organizations, international journalists, and other such committees. Several thousands, up to about 50,000 people in 34 countries were targets of Pegasus, which is the spy organization of Israel. It's a very costly affair. Who paid? Why paid? The list of the names who are targeted doesn't include a single name of terrorists or a black marketer. It is only the political opponents and the independent journalists. Recently, there is a coal crisis which is completely made by the government of India. Forcefully, they were reduced the production of the coal, and they wanted coal imported by Adani from outside the country is to be used by various projects in the country. Some of it is postponed. What is happening? It is completely ruled by the dictates of corporates in the country. This is a very unfair and anti-people method. Today is National Press Day in honor of the Press Council of India. This day is declared, but the press situation in India is very precarious. In Tripura, 2 journalists were jailed, not because of anything, but just for reporting what happened in Tripura, about the violence that took place. Then where is the freedom of the press? What is the fun of this so-called National Press Day and all that? One journalist who exposed medical mafia in Madhya Pradesh was brutally murdered. When he exposed these things, more than 10 hospitals are sealed by the government. Is it not the responsibility of the Madhya Pradesh BJP government and Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan to give enough security to the journalist? He told that there is danger for my life, but still I will fight on. Ultimately, he was kidnapped and ultimately brutally murdered. Many intellectuals in the world have said that freedom of the press is very important. Thomas Jefferson, the American president, said that our liberty depends on the freedom of the press and that cannot be limited without being lost. Walter Cronkite has said freedom of the press is not just important to democracy, it is the democracy. John Kennedy more categorically said, a nation that is afraid to let its people judge the truth and falsehood in an open market is a nation that is afraid of its people. Is it applicable to India? Mahatma Gandhi said, freedom of the press is a precious privilege that no country can forego. Liebling said, freedom of the press is guaranteed only to those who own one. Nelson Mandela, the great freedom fighter of South Africa, said a free press is one of the pillars of the democracy. Benjamin Disraeli said, the press is not only free, it is powerful. That power is ours. It is the broadest that man can enjoy. Napoleon said that, I am not afraid of huge armies, I am afraid of newspapers. But he never curtailed the freedom of the press. Why freedom of the press is curtailed in India? Why journalists are being targeted? Why the truth is not allowed to go among the people? Is it a part of democratic activity? They should not be allowed. On this day of the National Press Day, the journalists, the people, everybody should see to it. Once again, pledge that freedom of press should be part of the democracy in this country. It is guaranteed by the Constitution of India. Let us keep the freedom of the press and thus keep democracy in the country. Thank you.